organizations are just borrowing large amounts of money from each other and then using that to make money by lending it to others who are using that to lend it to others.
Do something you're very passionate about and don't try to chase what is kind of the hot passion of the day.
You've been told a lie about how to get rich. It's a story you've probably heard 1,000 times. Go to school, get a good job, save every penny you can, max out your 401k, and spend your life climbing the corporate ladder. So you follow the advice. You work hard, you put money aside, but you can't shake the feeling that you're just running on a treadmill. Your savings get quietly nibbled away by inflation, taxes take a huge bite out of your paycheck, and real financial freedom feels like a destination that's always just over the horizon. What if I told you the truly wealthy aren't just playing that game better than you? What if they're playing a completely different game? A game with a set of rules you were never taught. They don't get ahead by simply earning more. They get ahead by building something. They build a machine, a financial machine that works for them 24/7, year after year, automatically turning the wealth they already have into more wealth. It's a system designed not just to grow, but to multiply, generation after generation. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain. We're not just going to look at the machine, we're going to take it apart, piece by piece. You're about to learn the real blueprint for how the rich get richer every single year.
It really was a difficult choice, but ultimately, I decided I had to give it a shot. I didn't think I'd regret trying and failing, and I suspected I would always be haunted by a decision to not try at all.
Section 1. Deconstructing the lie. Why normal advice keeps you trapped. Before we can build anything, we have to understand why the old foundation is so cracked. Look, the conventional advice, get a job, save money, isn't bad advice. It's just wildly incomplete. It's a blueprint for financial stability, not for building immense wealth. For most people, a job is their only source of income. This is what we call earned income. And from a pure wealth-building perspective, it's the least efficient way to make money. There are two big reasons why: taxes and time. First, taxes. The tax system generally favors income from investments over income from labor. While the exact rates depend on your income bracket, your paycheck from a 9-to-5 is typically taxed at higher marginal rates than long-term capital gains. Before you even see your money, the government has taken its share. The harder you work, the bigger your raise, the more you hand over. It feels like you're trying to fill a bucket, but the more water you pour in, the bigger the holes at the bottom get. Second, your income is tied to your time, and time is the one thing you can never make more of. There are only 24 hours in a day. You can only work so many of them. This puts a hard cap on your earning potential. You can get a promotion, you can get a raise, but you will always hit a ceiling because you can't create more time. You are the engine of your own wealth. And when you stop working, the engine shuts off. And what about saving? The phrase, "a penny saved is a penny earned," is a dangerous platitude in today's world. The cash you diligently stack in a savings account is like a melting ice cube. Every year, its purchasing power shrinks because of inflation. While savings accounts are crucial for emergencies and liquidity, the system is designed to reward investors. While you're trying to save your way to wealth, your dollars are actively losing value. The 401k and other retirement accounts are held up as the golden ticket. And they are helpful, but they're tools of containment. They are designed to help you build a comfortable retirement over 40 years, not to create extraordinary wealth. With their contribution limits and withdrawal penalties, they are the slow, scenic route. The wealthy understand all of this. They know that a system built only on earned income and cash savings is a hamster wheel. It's designed to keep you running hard, but never really getting ahead. So, they don't play that game. They build a machine that runs on a completely different kind of fuel. And that's where our blueprint begins. Section 2. The blueprint of the machine. Acquiring cash-flowing assets. The first most fundamental rule of the machine is this: the rich don't work for money, they make their money work for them. And that isn't just a catchy slogan, it represents a total shift in thinking. They focus on turning their hard-earned income into assets that generate passive and portfolio income. Their goal isn't just to earn paychecks, it's to own things. So what's an asset? In this context, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, month after month, whether you're actively working or not. This is the fuel. Think of it this way. Your job is like carrying buckets of water from a river. It's exhausting, and the second you stop, the water stops. Building a portfolio of assets is like building a pipeline. It takes a lot of work up front, but once it's built, the water flows continuously. The wealthy systematically acquire a diverse portfolio of these assets. And this isn't about getting lucky picking one hot stock. It's about strategic acquisition across a few key categories. First up, the classic real estate. This is a cornerstone of wealth for a reason. They buy apartment buildings, commercial properties, and rental homes. Why? Because these assets provide monthly rental income, cash flow, while the property itself hopefully appreciates in value. Their tenants are paying the mortgage and all the expenses, while the owner builds equity and wealth. They hunt for properties where the rent covers more than the expenses, creating a mini profit machine from day one. Second, equities, but maybe not how you think about them. While they invest in the stock market, the focus is often on established businesses that pay dividends. A dividend is just a slice of a company's profit paid out to you, the shareholder, as a reward for owning a piece of the business. By reinvesting those dividends, they trigger a powerful compounding effect where their shares buy more shares, which then generate even more dividends. It's an upward spiral of wealth that doesn't need a lot of active tinkering. Third, owning businesses, either directly or through private equity. This is where the really big money starts to move. Instead of just buying a few shares of a public company, they might buy an entire private company or a big piece of one. This could be investing in a hot new startup or buying a stable, cash-flowing local business like a chain of car washes. This gives them far more control and a much bigger slice of the profits. The strategy that holds this all together is diversification. They don't bet the farm on one thing. They spread their investments across different asset classes, real estate, stocks, private businesses, and even alternatives like farmland or infrastructure. Many ultra-wealthy families even have a dedicated family office, a private firm whose only job is to manage their investments and financial strategy. This diversification protects them. If the stock market tanks, their real estate portfolio might be soaring. It creates stability and ensures the machine keeps humming, no matter what the economy is doing. This is the chassis of the machine, a diversified portfolio of cash-flowing assets. But now we need to add the engine. And this next part is the secret that truly separates the wealthy from everyone else. Section 3, the engine of the machine, the strategic use of debt. Most of us are taught that debt is the enemy. Stay out of debt is the mantra. And for most people, that's good advice because they only use bad debt, borrowing money on a high-interest credit card to buy things that lose value, like a car, a vacation, or a new TV. That kind of debt absolutely makes you poorer. The wealthy, however, have mastered good debt. Good debt is when you borrow money to buy assets that go up in value or produce more income than the cost of the loan. They don't see debt as a risk to be avoided, they see it as a tool, a lever, rocket fuel for their financial machine. Let's walk through how this works. Say you have $100,000 in cash. You could buy one rental property for $100,000. If that property gives you $1,000 a month in positive cash flow, you're doing great. But that's not what the wealthy do. They take that same $100,000 and use it as a 20% down payment on 5 $100,000 properties. They borrow the other $400,000 from the bank. Now let's say after paying the mortgage and expenses, each property only generates $300 a month. But with 5 of them, that's $1,500 a month in total cash flow. You see what just happened? By using the bank's money, they've increased their monthly income by 50% and now control $500,000 worth of real estate instead of just $100,000. Their tenants are paying off the loans and they're building equity across 5 properties instead of 1. They use debt to amplify their returns. This idea goes far beyond real estate and leads to one of the most powerful and misunderstood strategies of the super rich: buy, borrow, die. It's a 3-step process. First, they buy and hold appreciating assets, stocks, real estate, art. They try to never ever sell because selling triggers capital gains tax. Second, when they need cash for their lifestyle or for new investments, they borrow. They walk into a bank and take out a loan against their multi-million-dollar portfolio. Because the loan is secured by quality assets, they get incredibly low interest rates. And here's the magic trick. The cash from a loan isn't considered income, so it isn't taxed. They can get millions in cash to live on or to buy more assets without paying a penny in taxes on it. Now, this isn't without risk. If their assets suddenly dropped in value, they could face a margin call and be forced to sell. But with a massive diversified portfolio, that risk is carefully managed. Third, they die. It sounds grim, but it's the final, critical piece of the puzzle. When they pass away, their heirs inherit the assets. Thanks to a rule called the stepped-up basis, the original cost of the assets is reset to their market value at the time of death. This means all of those decades of built-up capital gains are legally wiped clean. The heirs can then sell a portion of the assets completely tax-free to pay back the loans, and the machine is reset for the next generation. It's worth noting this rule is sometimes debated by politicians, but as it stands, it's one of the most powerful wealth transfer tools that exists. This is the engine, using other people's money to buy more assets, then borrowing against those assets to access tax-free cash for life. We're getting into some serious strategies here. If this is starting to click, and you're seeing how the game is really played, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because we're about to cover the part of the machine that makes it all run so efficiently, the operating system. Section 4, the operating system, minimizing the tax drag. If assets are the chassis and debt is the engine, then tax strategy is the sophisticated operating system that makes the machine run with incredible efficiency. The wealthy live by a simple truth. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. They don't see taxes as a certainty. They see them as an expense to be managed and minimized, just like any other business cost. As we covered, the tax code is friendlier to investors than to earners. That's the first layer of the strategy. Get most of your income from sources that get favorable tax treatment, like long-term capital gains and dividends. But it goes so much deeper. They have teams of experts who use a whole toolbox of strategies. One common tool is tax loss harvesting. If an investment has lost money, they can sell it to realize that loss. That loss can then be used to cancel out the gains from their winning investments, essentially erasing the tax bill on their profits. They max out tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs and 401ks, but often have access to supercharged versions like a solo 401k for business owners, which allows for much larger contributions. They also use tools like health savings accounts, HSAs, which are amazing because they offer a triple tax advantage: tax-free contributions, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals for medical costs. Now, the really heavy lifting is done with legal structures, mostly trusts and LLCs. These are more common among the ultra-high net worth. They might move assets into a family LLC and then gift shares of that company to their children over time. Because of complex valuation rules, they can often pass on tremendous wealth this way while minimizing gift and estate taxes. They also use various irrevocable trusts to legally move assets out of their taxable estate for generations, using vehicles with names like GRATs and dynasty trusts. Finally, strategic philanthropy plays a massive role. By setting up a private foundation or a donor-advised fund, they can get a large tax deduction today for a charitable contribution, while still maintaining control over how that money is given away over many years. It reduces their tax bill, builds a positive family legacy, and teaches the next generation about financial stewardship. It's a perfectly legal system of tax avoidance, not evasion, built by understanding the rules of the game better than anyone else and using them to their full advantage. The generational upgrade, long-term mindset. So we've broken down the machine, the asset chassis, the debt engine, and the tax OS. But there's one last piece that ensures this machine doesn't just last a lifetime, but for generations. It's the software that runs the whole thing, the mindset. The wealthy approach money with a profoundly different perspective. This whole game isn't about getting rich quick. It's about getting wealthy permanently with a patient and disciplined long-term vision. They think in decades, not fiscal quarters. This lets them ride out market crashes and see downturns not as a crisis, but as a buying opportunity. This mindset is built on continuous learning. They are perpetual students of finance, markets, and tax law. They invest heavily in their own financial education and, crucially, in their children's. Heirs are often brought into family financial meetings at a young age to learn how the machine works and the responsibilities that come with it. Another key piece is what's sometimes called stealth wealth. Contrary to the images on social media, many truly wealthy families live far below their means. They aren't the ones you necessarily see with the flashiest cars or watches. They know that every dollar spent on a depreciating luxury good is a dollar that can't be put back into the machine to compound. Finally, they cultivate a powerful network. They understand that the best deals in business, real estate, or investing rarely appear in public. They come through trusted connections. Their network is an asset in itself, opening doors that are invisible to most people. This combination of a long-term view, a commitment to education, financial discipline, and a powerful circle of connections is the generational upgrade. It's what turns a plan for personal riches into a blueprint for a dynasty. All right, so let's tie this all together. The reason the rich get richer isn't because of luck or some secret stock tip. It's because they've built a machine. It's a machine built on a chassis of cash-flowing assets, like real estate and businesses that put money in their pocket 24/7. It's powered by the engine of strategic debt, using other people's money to multiply their returns, and strategies like buy, borrow, die to access cash tax-free. It's run by the operating system of tax minimization, using every legal tool in the book to slash their single biggest expense. And it's all guided by a long-term generational mindset that values patience and education over flash and speed. The rules of this game are different. They can seem complicated, even unfair, but they are the rules. And the good news is, now you know them. You have the blueprint. Building your own machine might feel like a huge task, but it starts with a single step, shifting your mindset from being an earner to being an owner. It starts with buying your first small asset and learning to make your money work for you. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, it's a get-rich-for-sure system. It takes discipline, education, and a long-term vision. But the path to true financial freedom isn't a secret reserved for the elite. It's a blueprint, and now you have it in your hands. If you're ready to start drawing up your own blueprint, make sure you're subscribed and have hit that notification bell. In our next video, we're going to break down the very first type of cash-flowing asset you can buy, even if you're starting with limited capital. Thanks for watching.